Hey, what's up? It's your girl Lauren, aka SoReal, here with my very first podcast, 10 to 28. Thank you for joining me. If you're listening, thank you for tuning in. So, this podcast is a series that I have been wanting to get out to the world for a while now, but I never took the time to actually do it because I cared so much about what people thought, and I am tired of living that way because I know I went through everything that I went through for a reason. So I want to make sure that my story gets out there and someone gets blessed by it. And if it's just one person, then so be it. So, what made me want to do this series called 10 to 28, my daughter now is 10 years old, and my birthday is coming up next week, and I will be 28. So, seeing my daughter and her being 10 years old and how vibrant she is, how sassy she is, the things that she goes through, the things that I help her through, it reminds me of when I was 10 years old. And when I was 10 is the first time that I thought about committing suicide. And when I see her, I see such a precious young little girl. And I can't even fathom to think how in the heck was that on my mind. Now, to give a backstory about myself, I grew up with my mother in and out of the mental hospital way before I was born. Um, she would tell me stories about how my grandma or my abuela would take care of me when I was 3 months, and she didn't want to let me go when they came to pick me back up. And when I think about all the stuff that I went through when I was younger, I just see memories, of being at my abuela's house, being with my cousins, being at my tia's house, and, being here as well. Um, but it's just so much that went on. And when I think about my daughter and how much I care, and sometimes I'm a little overprotective over her and I'm oversensitive with the things that she goes through just because I'm so afraid of childhood scars that I have gone through in my life. And when I think and I look at her and I'm like, how at this age, at 10 years old, looking at how small she is and how much more or how much of life she has yet to experience, how did I think about death at that age? And my father, he worked a lot. He worked two jobs just to provide for us. And um, I know that I always remembered feeling alone. So my daughter now, when she says certain things, I I pay attention to them. I make sure I'm there for her. Sometimes, if you know me and my daughter's relationship, we kind of, it's not that we bump heads, but she's extremely sassy and I don't play that. And that's just who she is as a person. But there are times that she'll tell me, Mom, I feel like nobody loves me. And I'm always making sure that I stop everything that I'm doing and I'm there for her emotionally, because I remember that I didn't have that growing up. And that is what drew me to feeling like I wanted to die. And I remember what made me, or what happened that first time that I thought about suicide. I used to hang around the corner with my friends, and there was this one girl who just did not like me because there was this boy that liked me and she liked him too. And he didn't like her, he liked me. So what she did was she came to my house and she told my dad that we were playing spin the bottle and I was in the closet kissing the boy, and he came over there and he went to get me and I got on punishment, but everything that she said wasn't true and he wouldn't hear me out. I just remember going in my room and being on punishment, and I just remember feeling like really sad. And if I think back to it, there was a lot of times that I felt that way, and I felt, I didn't really have anybody. And my brother, Kashif, who is about 2 years older than me and him are extremely close. And it's because a lot of the memories that I had, it was just me and him. When my mom would get sick, it would just be me and him and me and him and me and him all the time. So, but other than that, I didn't really felt like my parents could be there for me emotionally. And thinking back to it, how could they? Because my mom being having a mental illness, and my father having to work 2 jobs to take care of us, where was the time, you know? And my older sister, who is like my best friend now, I remember she stayed with us for a little while, and she really took the time to pay attention to me. And I remember her living here with us, and I felt noticed. So I didn't realize until I grew older that I felt abandoned. And I'm pretty sure my parents didn't do that on purpose or didn't want to make me feel that way on purpose. But that's, that's just the way that I felt. And so when I think about my daughter and I see her go through things, and, I see people picking on her at times, or anything that she's going through, I pay so much attention to it just because I don't want to have her going through any of the battles that I had to go through as a child. And I don't want her thinking at 10 years old that she doesn't want to live, because that's a battle that I've been facing since I was 10 years old. And if you aren't close to me, I never shared this part of me, but I've dealt with suicidal attempts since I was 10. To be completely honest and real, my way of trying to commit suicide would be through cutting. And I've remember always cutting myself on my wrists, and if you look at my arms, you can see that the scars are still there, and there's actually fresh ones just from 2018. And I've always battled that. And I've, when I was 10 years old, when I tried to commit suicide, I sat in the middle of the street hoping somebody would run me over, just because of the sadness that I felt. And when I see my daughter, she's extremely emotional, just how I am. And I know how the enemy works, and I know how he tries to lie to us and feed lies to us, but she doesn't know that. I try to do everything I can to emotionally be there for her, so she doesn't have to deal with what I dealt with growing up. The cutting started when I was about 13 years old, but I remember always feeling like I wanted to die. I remember, taking bottles of pills and them having to give me charcoal so I could throw up everything that I had. This is just stuff that I went through. And when I think about it, as you get older, like I'm saying, the reason why this is called 10 to 28, I'm reflecting my daughter being 10, and I'm also seeing what I've gone through and looking back at everything now that I'm about to be 28. When you think about it, if you were 13, you think that you're grown and you think that you know it all, and then when you get older, you look back at a 13-year-old and you're like, what the heck, you're a little kid, like, you're so young. But at that time, you don't think that way, so I look back at all of the decisions that I made, and how I went through so much in my life and in my childhood. I go through a lot now, but at that time, I was so I felt so alone. I really felt that nobody was there. So with my daughter being 10 years old, I try my hardest, I try my hardest to make sure that she is okay. I instill valuable lessons that I hope she keeps, because I don't ever want her to deal with the pain that I dealt with. And I remember when I had her and I was pregnant, I got pregnant at 16 and I had her at 17. I remember saying, like, I don't ever want her to go through this. And God revealed to me that I took on the battle scars for her, if that makes any sense. But it's always worried me, because I went through a lot of trauma, and I just try my hardest to make sure that she doesn't have to go through it either. But I also had to learn that I can't put her in this bubble that keeps her from going through anything, you know? All I can do is be there by her side and help her through whatever it is that she's going through. And a lot of the lessons that I teach her is actually through friendships. My daughter, ever since she was, I don't even know how old, probably 5 or 6, I take her and her friends and I'll pay for them. I won't invite if I can't pay. You know, I've taken her and her friends to Disneyland, you know, to Hurricane Harbor. We'll go to the pool, we'll go to Rock and Jump, go get our nails done, whatever it is that we need to do. And I see my daughter and her friends interact. And a lot of the teachings that I give her is through her friendships. And, you know, and I remember when my daughter used to get bullied at school, and it made me think about when I used to get bullied. And I used to get bullied a lot. I've gotten bullied from elementary school all the way through high school, probably even after that. And it's tough, you know? So those are the thoughts that I had. And I know that how it feels. And I'm 100% all too familiar with it. And now coming to be 28 and just seeing how far I've come as a woman, it's like night and day. But I realized that a lot of it had to do with taking the lessons that life has to give you and actually applying it. Everything that I learned was through experience, and later in the series I'm actually going to go into detail about a lot of the stuff that I've gone through in life and a lot of the trials and tribulations that I've gone through, and I'm going to be 100% raw and real. And a lot of what I've gone through, a lot of people don't know unless they're close to me. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm not going to leave anything out, and I'm just going to put everything out on the table because I know that what I've gone through, a lot of people go through in silence. And I want to make sure that they have the tools necessary. So this is going to be a very short series, but I want to make sure I get everything out there for you guys to see and air out everything to help somebody else. So as I wrap up this first video, actually, I want to show my daughter. Anaya, come here because I know that you're looking through the door. Come on, Anaya. Hold on, she's acting shy. Anaya, come here.
Yeah.
So this is my daughter, Anaya. How old are you?
10.
10?
Yeah.
What's it like to be 10 years old? You gotta talk loud so they can hear you.
Grown.
Grown?
I feel like I'm getting big.
Okay. How does it feel like in your emotions to be 10 years old?
That I can tell people that I'm older than them now.
So you could tell people that you're older than them now? And that's it? Do you like being 10?
Yeah.
What do you like most about being 10?
That I don't know, actually.
You don't?
No.
You don't know. And do you get sad sometimes? What do you get sad about?
When someone's being mean to me.
When someone's being mean?
And when people used to bully me. And when my friends are being nice. And more.
And what else? Or is that all you want to share right now?
That's all I want to share.
Do you feel that I'm there for you when you get sad?
Yeah.
How am I there for you?
Because you always talk about, like stuff that makes me feel better.
Do you like that I'm your mom?
Sometimes.
Sometimes when I'm not being mean. Yeah. Well, good thing I'm not supposed to be your friend right now. I'm supposed to be your mom. When you get older, I'll be your friend. All right? Get out of here. All her mind is thinking about is being 10 and knowing or being able to tell people that she's older than them. That's what her mind is thinking about right now. But she's also dealing with real emotions. And it's so important to have somebody there to talk to you, to make you feel okay. I'll share more of my story about when I more deeply got into the issues that I've gone through, my areas of depression and everything like that. But for now, I'll keep it short and simple. And I hope that you guys grasp the message of knowing that we all have a story and we all have been through a lot, some more than others. But if it wasn't for the things that I've gone through, I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. And I remember a lot of what I went through. I lived in shame for a very long time because I was embarrassed. And actually, I still deal with that. I still deal with people's opinions because they talked about me so much and they laughed at me for so long. And you stick with that. That really hits you hard. But you get to a point where you realize that everything that you've gone through is for a reason. And there's nothing that you have gone through that was in vain or that didn't serve a purpose. It's just up to us to figure out what that purpose is. So here I am at 28, although I knew what the purpose of it was for, and I'm no longer going to care about what people say because I know that everything that I've gone through is for a reason and it's meant for somebody else to hear it. So until next time, it's your girl Lauren. Follow me on Instagram. She is Lauren SoReal. On Facebook, Lauren Smith. And make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel. If you are listening online, make sure to share this with somebody that you know needs it so we can get this message out and we can get going. So for the first episode of 10 to 28, much love to you all. Peace out.